guess, of the fact that we've not really conquered it all the way. I hope you are all hearing me well and that you are comfortably settled there. Maybe with something cold at your elbow, hopefully. I've got a bottle of spring water keeping me company, so I hope you're doing better where you are. Welcome and apologies again for the late start, but hopefully we are going to stay on air now. Linda, you are telling us that you have a glass of Coke. I'm assuming that it's Coke only, or if there is something else in the Coke, it's ice. Okay, enjoy. All right, let's go. Let's get going. As you've discovered by now, there's no video attached to this. It's audio only, and you are welcome to type into the chat window questions when these crop up. So don't be shy about asking questions. You're not interrupting. You are welcome to ask questions, and I will do my best to respond. Could I ask you to just indicate by typing a little message in that chat window where you are with your portfolio of evidence now, your POE. Have you all started? Are you some way down the road at least? Okay, Wendy, you're waiting for your assignments to be released so that you can complete. Just remind me, which question is it again which asks for your assignments? I think it's question 2, project 3. Okay, project 3, waiting for the assignments to come back. Right. Let me just refresh my memory regarding which one that is. Actually, you can do project 3 without having your assignment back. Because the question just asks you to reflect on the process of completion. So you can get started with that. Pam, don't worry. If you haven't started yet, it's not the end of the world. You still have plenty of time. If you could just get started as soon as you can, that would be great. Linda, I think the project in which you reflect on your experience over the years with the IMM is project 6. That's the final project. So hopefully that shouldn't be too difficult to write. Christopher, don't worry if you haven't started. It's honestly, I think after tonight's session, you will see that it's fairly straightforward and you could get started still and complete it. Right, I'm going to go through the slides and just help you get some academic and theoretical background. What are the objectives with academic literacy? Essentially, it's my personal objective with presenting this module is I hope that I will get students to start reading and writing again. But that's just on a personal level. On a formal level, the objectives are to help you find your academic voice because, as you will have noticed by now, there is a different language which is used in every aspect of our lives. The language you use at home, the language you use in the workplace, the language you use when you having a good time with your friends, and the language you use in an academic environment. Each one of those situations demands a different type of language. And this module aims to help you to discover that academic voice. Hopefully, you will be doing some writing and you will go on to do some more free writing afterwards. In other words, if you could just adopt the habit of writing, what if you keep a journal, or writing down your thoughts while you're sitting next to the pool, writing while you're on the train or on the bus. So it's such an important activity, the skill of writing. And of course, in your preferred job area, that of marketing, writing is a core skill because essentially marketing is about getting messages across to potential consumers, and you need to write to be able to do that. There's an opportunity here for you to develop some creative writing skills, hopefully. Uh, and the program also makes you aware of the resources available to writers. As far as that last point goes, it's so heartwarming for me every time when I hear students say that this module made them read up and follow a blog. And it's the first time in their lives that they're doing that. And for many people, it's a wonderful discovery to see that there are blogs where people discuss seriously interesting stuff like writing or reading. Okay, maybe you will not find, all of you will not find that so interesting, but there's lots of stuff out there available on blogs which you can follow. I mean, there's traveling, there's an opportunity to read blogs on movies or food. Bam! I discovered a fellow foodie. Um, I I love the blogs on food, and I hope you also, Pam, follow on Instagram some of those food blogs or type. Do you call it a blog? On Instagram, maybe you just call it posts. But those are some of the objectives. Uh, the world out there is awash with information, interesting stuff, and hopefully this module helps you to dip your toe into that ocean of fascinating information which is out there. uh, Jamie Oliver, yeah, he's growing. He's showing the signs of eating well. Old Jamie, that is, Pam. I don't know if you've noticed. What are the supporting components that you need to be aware of? There's the learner guide, which I hope you all have. If you don't have it, it's available on the module website in a PDF format and you can print it off there. Uh, there's the textbook, Academic Literacy, and you really need that book. not least of all because there's a brilliant chapter in there on study skills which you need to read. It's a once in a lifetime it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Don't let that slip you by. There is the guide to the portfolio of evidence, which is available on the module website. So those three are the essential pillars of the process. Remember that date, 16 October 2017. That's about 2.5 weeks away, and that is the submission date for the POE. Remember that you have to submit before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are going to be able to submit beforehand. Yes, Linda, in fact, I recommend that you submit before that date because most students will be inclined to leave the submission to the last minute, which means that that website's going to be busy, and we will need you will need to think of submitting earlier. Friday the 13th. Oops. Oh my. Oh, Linda, do you think we can ignore the fact that it's Friday the 13th? Okay, I've said it. I shouldn't have. Okay, but maybe you can submit on Thursday the 12th or Saturday the 14th, if the 13th worries you. It's an online submission which you need to do in one document. In other words, there needs to be one document with 6 projects condensed into it. PDF format, you need to save the document in PDF format before you submit it. And I think that's quite an important thing because to remember, because that submission option allows you only one go. And when you do that, you need to make sure that the entire document is uploaded. Linda, thank you for reminding me. Many students make the mistake of doing a reference list after each individual project, which is not the correct way to go about it. You need to save that last and final page in your submission. Have at the top reference list, not bibliography, reference list, and you list all the references relating to the 6 projects on that reference list. Yes, Linda, name and student number. You normally include that in your header. So do insert those as well as you would for other assignments. Right, let's go on to the next one. Many people ask me about the role of the textbook. It's really important to have the textbook because the textbook has important guidelines in it on how to write paragraphs, how to write sentences, how to reference, and so on. So those are important issues which you need to be aware of and which you need the textbook for. So please make sure that you have that textbook next to you as you write so that you can use it as a reference source. There are no direct questions from the textbook, but every answer contains elements which are not discussed in the textbook as such. Colton, you're asking about word count. You will see that every project has, towards the end of the project description, an indication of word count. Please be aware of the word count, but, and this is important, don't go and get anxious if you exceed the word count a little bit. So Linda says that the word count for most of the projects is 350 words. Linda, you can even go on to a second page. So just, every question, every project has its own rhythm and space and demands. Just answer the question. Don't be so hooked on the word count issue, because I've seen many students who get so anxious about the word count that they become incapable of writing. So I can assure you that as long as you don't go overboard and as long as you write good sense stuff, the marker will not penalize you for going over that 350 words per project. So that's not something that you need to be too concerned about. So what does this portfolio of evidence look like? There are 6 projects in it which you need to complete. Somebody asked earlier about the structure and format. Here's an important structure and format issue. Each project you need to start on a new page. In other words, when you start with project 3 and you write in the middle of a page project 3, an alarm bell needs to go off. Every project needs to start on a new page. Please allow some space between the paragraphs, because it's amazing how many students submit endless pages containing just one single paragraph, which is of course impossible to read. So you lose marks. Make sure that you have short paragraphs which are separated by an open space. I start slurring like I'm drinking more than just spring water. Linda, you caught me out there. Okay. Remember to consolidate these 6 projects into one document. Remember to have a reference list on the last page, not what's the other word which students often use? A bibliography. It's not a bibliography, it's a reference list. Remember to submit it online before 3 o'clock on the submission date, which is 16 October. So those are just some background issues which you may already be aware of, and but which you not just need to be reminded of, I guess. So here on this slide, I have for you just, what's the right word? An eagle's view, oh no, wait, sorry, I've got the wrong bird. It's just a bird's eye view of the 6 projects. The first one requires of you to follow a blog and write a report on it. Project 2 requires of you to submit proof of referencing, which you can get from a marked assignment. Project 3 helps you to focus on the process of completing the assignments. Reflection, which is the key component of that project, is an immensely powerful management tool. Unfortunately, one which very few managers use, but hopefully that project will help you see the value in just sitting, thinking about the past semester, about the assignments you completed, and what happened in that process. Project 4 asks you to provide a summary of a book or article. Project 5 focuses on an article from Marketing Magazine. And Project 6, oops, who notices that there's a typo there? I mistyped. It's not a first reflection, but a first, a first semester reflection. In other words, it must be the water, Helena says. Yeah, it's just a reflection on the semester which has gone past. Maybe you registered this was your first semester, and we just ask you to look back on that. It's another opportunity to gauge the value and the quality of spending time reflecting on something that you had done. Right, now we're going to look at each one of the projects in some detail in turn. So here we go. The first one, follow a blog. It asks of you to find a blog and to follow it for a few weeks. Now, in that requirement, of course, is a bit of a challenge for some people who say that they haven't started yet. So obviously, you're not going to be able to follow a blog for 6 weeks now. You have only 2 weeks left. But again, please don't allow that to upset you or make you anxious. Just if you don't know where to find a blog, simply go to Google and type in something like, for example, top marketing blogs or top cooking blogs, most read or followed traveling blogs, whatever you are interested in. Find a blog and follow it. Now, I get so many calls from students who say to me, "Oh no, Christopher, don't do Seth Godin, please, please." I couldn't mock another Seth Godin. I'll start drinking very early in the morning if you send in a Seth Godin blog to mock. I think, yeah, vodka is a good idea, Linda. Seth Godin has been done to death. So, actually, I'm just joking. If you have discovered Seth Godin for the first time and you're following his blog, it's fine. But if you can avoid it, try to. Now, many students say to me, "I can't find a blog." Or they say, "But this blog that I did find and which I've been following for some weeks now seems to be quite dead. There are no postings on it." Don't let that concern or worry you. If nobody is posting on the blog, you still can comment on your reading of the content, and you can add to your discussion of the blog by telling us what you think the reasons are for people not contributing to it. You could write a few really fascinating paragraphs on issues like, for example, what people should do uh, to make the blog more alive. That's an option. Don't let these things intimidate you. See it as an opportunity to show your initiative and your insight. Uh, so, over a few days, uh, please note, Christopher, I'm not saying a few weeks, over a few days, go back to this blog, and each time you visit the blog, make a few notes of your impressions on what you see there, what's happening, what are people talking about, what is the blogger talking about. So uh, just use what you find, um, and then you close that project with some theory on um, on that you can link to the blog and the content in it. So, for example, if you following um, if you've been following a marketing blog, uh, you can just close off with a paragraph on some theory related to marketing that you can link to the blog. For example, interpersonal communication. For example, uh, is, is a blog an example of electronic advertising or marketing? So find a way of linking some theory from marketing, from business management, from any module you've done to the blog, and just end off with that. So, I just want to see what Anissa is saying. I've come across so many blogs that have no comments on it, and I don't know what to do. Anissa, again, don't be upset about that. Just choose one of these blogs and focus on it, and comment on the type of blog, what you see there. Comment on the fact that the blogger is not inviting uh, other people to also contribute to the blog. So it's not a problem. Don't feel that you have to find one on which there are numerous other postings. I hope that summarizes for you to some extent the issue of Project 1, following a blog. Any questions you may have on that one? I'm just giving a minute or two for you to type in your questions or concerns. I see Anissa and Linda are typing. Eddie, are you now more comfortable with the idea of closing the discussion with some theory? Okay, Anissa, yeah, I can understand that you one may get quite anxious about this, but it's not a requirement for the blog you follow that there should be posts by other people. Some blogs are just like that. They have as content only what is put up there by the blogger or the blog owner. Uh, and that's fine, and you can comment on it, and you can write a nice paragraph, Anissa, of what your thoughts are regarding the issue of contributing people, contributing readers. Do you think, when you read this blog, that it could have been improved if there had been other contributors? Or do you think that, given the focus of the blog, it's really working well as it is? Just use that a as a basis for your discussion. Uh, Linda, that sounds like a fascinating blog to follow. Um, that it's definitely sufficient. It's, I think, amazingly interesting. Design components and font creation. It sounds fascinating. I I hope I get yours to Mark because I'd really like to see what you uh, write on this. Right, I think we can move on now to project 2, submitting proof of reference. Okay, let's look at this one in terms of the ideal world. This should be the easiest project of the 6 because what do you need for completion of this project? You simply need to have a reference page from a previously submitted assignment on which the marker wrote some comments, and you then right below that a paragraph or two on why referencing is important. Why do you think you're going to gain in the long run from knowing how to reference? And how you're going to use referencing in uh, your your work reports from now on. So that sounds easy as falling off a log, or as easy as it is to gain weight. There's no sweat in it. But then, of course, there's reality. Some of you may not be able to get hold of a marked assignment in time to include that reference page in your submission. What do you do then? First thing is, don't get anxious. Don't get anxious about it at all. It's not a problem. If you don't get your assignment back in time, or if you don't have an assignment which was marked in a previous semester which you can use, simply just write us a story about this. Just say to the marker in your first paragraph, I was unable to obtain a marked copy of an assignment, and I'm therefore unable to include the marked page in this submission. But I have learned the following things about referencing. I understand why it is important, and this is how I'm going to use it in future. So just go on to write a nice, interesting story about referencing and why you think it is important. I've, I'm going to sneeze, so just put your hands over your ears for a moment. Here it comes. I'm sorry about that. It's extremely unprofessional, and please don't report me to anybody. Not supposed to do that. Thank you, Linda. So, is that one clear? Are there any questions about Project 2 that you need to have answered? Oh, Eddie, what does that mean? KKK. I'm not sure. Okay, maybe Eddie will share it with us, but maybe he won't. So let's go on and see what happens. Project 3 is an invitation to you to reflect on assignment submission. Essentially, what you need to do here is just to tell us how you experienced the process of preparing your assignments for submission. What were the things that worked for you during this time? What were the things which tripped you up? Very importantly, this is an opportunity for you to tell us what you'll do different next time uh, when you have to submit assignments. The important point there on that slide is the need for you to write reflectively. In other words, don't just tell us what had happened. Uh, on day 2, I did this and I wrote the introductory paragraph. On day 3, ta-da, ta-da, that sort of thing. Uh, Tell us what something deeper, something personal, something that you discovered about yourself during this period of working on the completion of your assignments. I so often, when I read the portfolio of evidence, when I mark it, I I reflect at the end of every day of marking. I have to admit to myself that the people who really made an effort and went beyond the obvious and shared something unique in their writing up of these projects are, at the end of the day, the people who gain better marks. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Uh, the fact that we require of you to dig a bit deeper, to tell us a bit more, and to make sure that you share something which you found valuable, some new knowledge that you've gained about yourself and the way you work, the way you do things, the way you view your studies, or anything like that. That would be really brilliant. I'm going to take a swig from the bottle again. Uh, so if you have any questions about that project 3, please uh, type in your question in the dialog box now. You're welcome to do that. Any questions? Nothing? Everything clear? If I can just use this as a commercial break, here's something very, very important. Please make sure that you type your document in the required font size and that you use the correct font. There's a font specified, there's spacing specified, and there's a font size specified. Uh, so don't go and lose marks unnecessarily by not sticking to those rules. Christopher says that he's happy and on board and all is well with him. So I see Linda is typing something. Oh, wonderful. She's giving us the summary of the font requirements, which you need to be aware of. So keep those in mind, please. Right. Project 4. This project asks you to provide a summary of a book or article that you've read. Now, often students simply give us here a summary of a chapter from the textbook, which I guess is okay, but it's a bit blah, really. Um, I mean, you know, do something, do something unique, do something strange and new. Um, I hope that none of you are of the mind of the student who phoned me, I think it was the previous semester, and he said to me, this project tells us to provide a summary of a book. What book? Who reads a book? So hopefully there are some of you who are reading books still, and you can give a summary of a book, any book uh, that you've read recently, or an article. Linda is mentioning an article about Airbnb from the IMM magazine, which is fine. Uh, you are welcome to do that. Insert here the summary of this article or book. Look at what we ask you to discuss in answering this question. There are quite specific requirements which we set out there, which you need to include as the framework for your answer to project 4. And so make sure that you are aware of those and that you are including that in your answer. What made you decide to read this? What is the core message in it? Did you experience anything in terms of emotions reading it? What is the core message that you're taking away from it? Eddie, you are welcome to provide a summary of any book that you've read, even if it was a novel, if it was a book on self-help, time management. Just stay away from Seth Godin, please. But anything else is welcome. Right. Oh yes, Linda, you ask about headings. Headings and subheadings are very important. And remember that these give structure and format to your answer. So do insert them. And remember, in an academic piece of writing, all headings and subheadings need to be to carry a number with it. So it needs to be numbered, and you need to use headings and subheadings. Eddie, I don't know if the POE asks you to look at the subject of study skills and managing your study time. Uh, oh, but if you've read something else that relates to studying or to marketing, honestly, it's not going to disqualify you. So any book really that you've read and you want to provide a summary of, if you've found something on how to study, that's brilliant. You can use that. Right. Okay, project 5, the article in Strategic Marketing Magazine. You will see that we ask you to find the article, and if you have a problem with finding a copy of Strategic Marketing Magazine, you will see that we've posted an article on the module website for you, which you can use. I think the title of the article is Battle Royal Rages Amongst Clothing Retailers or something like that. So you can use that article or another article from the magazine. The important thing is that you need to read the article a couple of times because every time you read it, you're going to discover something new in it. And you need to follow the guidelines in commenting on the article. In the project, we set out the guidelines for reflection. And so you can follow those and you'll find that it adequately steers you in the right direction. Something which many students forget to do or simply ignore doing is the requirement to give this article to somebody else to read as well. So here's how you do it. You read the article. I'm sorry. You read the article. You write up what you want to about the article. Give a summary. Give your impressions. Now you take the article and give it to somebody else. Ask them to read it. And ask them to share their opinions with you on the article. And then you just tell us in a paragraph or two in what way did the action of sharing the article and asking somebody else's opinion about it, in what way did that help you? Did that improve your understanding of the article? Did this other person perhaps chance upon a hidden angle in the article which you didn't see? Did this person's views sort of match with your own? Whatever this person, whether it's your parents or a significant other or a colleague at work, whatever they think about the article, just tell us very briefly and tell us what influence that had on your understanding of that article. So that is Project 5, article in Strategic Marketing magazine. I think that's a pretty straightforward one and one which students tend to enjoy quite a bit to do. Any questions you have about that? Let's see, Eddie is typing away furiously. He may have a question about Project 5. Okay, Linda's feeling confident about this one. I hope about the others as well. Pam is happy, Christopher is fine, and Eddie is still typing. I think Eddie is going to produce a mammoth message here. Eddie, we're watching you. Okay, I write a comment about the comment I will have been given. Yes, that's it. Eddie, that's it exactly. You summarize it very well. You write in your closing paragraph a comment about the comment that you will have been given by a friend. The friend who had read the article. Eddie, that's brilliant. I should ask you for your contact details so that I can ask you to help with these sessions in future. You put it so well because that's exactly what you need to do there. Thank you for your contribution on that one. Now, shall we move on? Wendy, glad to see you happy. Colton's happy. Now we look at the final project, Project 6, which asks you about your learning experience. What do you need to do here for this one? you need to think back. You need to reflect again on the semester. Tell us what the good times were about and what they were like. Uh, were there any wow moments for you in the past semester? Obviously, with most of us, we will also have experienced uh, things which we did not enjoy. Tell us about that. Then go on to tell us what you found valuable. Perhaps you found a good experience valuable. Often, students find a bad experience valuable because they learn uh, so much about themselves during bad times. Did you learn something about yourself? Did, as a moment of self discovery, happen during the semester? Uh, that is so important. And I often think, don't quote me on this, but I often think that when you study, the things that you learn about yourself are often more valuable and more life affirming than the academic knowledge you pick up. But that's just my personal view about this, and many people won't agree with me. But I think what I'm trying to say is it's it's so important that you inject something about the discovery of yourself in here somehow, somewhere. Linda, yeah, you're welcome to write about the time you spent doing your diploma. Um, I'm assuming that you're now on the degree program after having completed the diploma. So that would be brilliant if you can reflect on an entire qualification which you've obtained. Uh, do that, and it'll be great to read it. That that will be really good. Thank you, Linda. Thanks for that. What? Okay, I think we are slowly winding down towards the end. Linda, you can definitely go over 350 words for this. Um, you're welcome to do that. As long as you don't go over 750, that would be brilliant. So go over the word limit. You're welcome, and it will be great to read that. Yeah, 2 pages sounds still within the ballpark. Um, I'm just going for the last slide. I think this is the last slide. Going to repeat some of the things I've already said. Please, oops, did I accidentally? Yeah, I think I accidentally touched the mouse there, and yeah, that was the slide we are supposed to be on. Submitting the project. Uh, Please be reminded again that it must be submitted as one document in PDF format. Please remember that you need to start every project on a new page. So, what will your submission look like? The very first page would be the table of content. And when we turn that page, at the top of the next page would be project one and a discussion of that project. When we turn that page, at the top of that next page would be project two, and so on. Keep to the rule of starting every new project on a new page. The reference list page comes last. Make sure that you are on top of the referencing skills thing. There is on eLearn under study support uh, a document on the Harvard referencing uh, style. Uh, so make sure that you do read that and that you are aware of that and that you keep that style guide next to you as you write because you need to do in-text referencing, you need to do the reference list at the back, and that document tells you exactly how to do it. And you don't rewrite the question for every project. No, that's not necessary. Uh, you just do an introductory little paragraph and you get writing. No need to rewrite the question. Now, the last point, I must have known that Linda was going to be in the group because I think that's specifically for you, Linda. Don't be worried about word count. It's not so strictly applied in this submission. But be careful about going overboard. In other words, don't ignore the word count requirement to the extent that you submit pages and pages of, of written um, material. So those are some things you need to keep in mind in terms of submitting the project. Now, again, just the three final points there. Keep the submission date in mind, 16 October of this year, 2017. You can't let it stand over to 2018 or somewhere like that. You need to submit it this year, 16 October, before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And just a word of warning there to be careful about the propensity to leave it to the last minute. Because you're going to be nervous if you do that. And nervous people make mistakes which they later regret. Ask me, I've done plenty of those. So don't leave it to the last minute. Also keep in mind that we live in a country where there are occasional power supply interruptions. So it has happened to students that they left the submission, the online submission, to happen at 2:45 and then the power is off or your laptop senses your level of anxiety and decides not to cooperate just to show you who's boss. And what a messy situation that could be. So preferably do it very early that morning or the day before or a few days before. But try not to leave the submission to the very last minute. If you have any questions, you are welcome to send them in to academic-undergraduate, UG, not UJ, which I've got there. It's UG at immgsm.ac.za. You are welcome to send in your questions to that. And you are also welcome to type your questions in the module forum, which I monitor and which I will check more frequently now as we get closer to the 16th of October. Wow, that was a session which I so enjoyed because you participated and you had really interesting stuff. And I had water to drink, Linda. Yes, yes, the water helped. the water made it even better. So let's um, oh, I thought I tasted something in the water. Linda, anybody else? Do you have questions? Anything that's still not clear to you? Um, I want I hope I you won't be upset, but Christopher, if I can ask you specifically, because you indicated some trepidation at the start of the session, you were a bit worried. Uh, how do you feel now? Are you okay? Do you feel better now? You feel more um, what's the word? More grounded? That you feel like you know what you need to do and you'll be okay. Please just comment on your feelings now. Uh, I would really like to see that and what you think at this stage. Pam is happy, Edie feeling confident, brilliant. Um, Christopher, are you still out there? Are you going to tell us how you feel? Let's see. Christopher! Where's Christopher? Oh, good. I feel confident, Christopher says. That's brilliant. Uh, Christopher is still there. I was just getting worried, but that's good. Any other comments? You are welcome to post it because that's the end um, of my session. Colton, it's great to know that you're feeling better and that you're feeling more confident. That was the objective with the session. And um, the thing, Colton, is to the thing is to just get started somewhere, and you will soon get into the swing of things, and stuff will start rolling off your fingers onto the laptop, onto the project, and there you go. Uh, just don't feel intimidated. Linda, thank you very much for your comment. And I always feel a bit worried before these sessions uh, because you never know how well it will work. But when there are great people in the session like there were tonight, it works well normally and good things happen. So that's great. So all that I think then remains for me is to wish you well. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy writing up this uh, project or the 6 projects. And if you're going to write an exam or a few exam papers, uh, strongs with that. I hope it goes well and that it will not be an anxious or a worrying time for you. Um, Enjoy the rest of the week. It's mercifully short, I think. Uh, there are just 2 more days left and it'll be the weekend. So, something to look forward to. And uh, I hope you sleep well tonight. Uh, but before you go to sleep, just do a bit of work on one of these projects. And um, while you are in the mood, do something. And with that, I'm going to close off and I'm going to go home where I will be drinking more than just water, I can assure you. I'm taking I'm taking Linda's advice and I will add something to the water. Christopher, thank you for your good wishes. Anissa, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night.